There are 7 universal laws or principles by which everyone and everything in the universe is governed. To name them, they are the laws of mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. The universe exists in perfect harmony and order by virtue of these laws. Ancient mystical, esoteric, and secret teachings dating back more than 5,000 years from ancient Egypt to ancient Greece all have as a common thread these 7 hermetic laws of the universe. Once you understand, apply, and align yourself with these 7 universal laws, you will experience transformation in every area of your life beyond what you have ever dared to imagine. The governing laws seek neither to punish nor reward you. They are impersonal, operating automatically along unconscious lines without your conscious participation. The immutable and the mutable laws of the universe. Of the 7 universal laws, the first 3 are the higher immutable laws, meaning that they are absolute and eternal. They can never be changed or transcended. They have always existed and will always exist. The remaining 4 of the 7 universal laws are the lower mutable laws, meaning they are transitory and can be transcended or else worked with to create an ideal inner and outer world. This is not to say that you should ignore the 4 mutable laws or attempt to defy them, because even if you do, they will still govern your existence. Your aim is to understand each of the 7 universal laws and then learn to transcend or master the lower ones through your knowledge and understanding of the higher laws. Law number 1, the law of mentalism. The first of the 7 universal laws is the law of mentalism that tells us that the all is mind, the universe is mental. This means that mind or consciousness is the underlying substance of the entire universe, and that this consciousness is the mind of the absolute, universal mind. Being an immutable law, nothing can or ever will change it, and it holds true on all planes, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual planes. All is mind, however, does not mean that everything belongs to the mental plane. Rather, the mental plane is that plane of mind associated with what we consider to be mental activities such as thinking, imagination, and your overall mental state. All energy and matter, both visible and invisible and at all degrees of existence, is created by and is subject to the absolute, of which your God self is a divine spark. Your mind is one and the same with universal mind in its entirety. And your reality is but a manifestation of your mind, a projection of your consciousness. And since all is mind, this means that you do not have a mind, you are mind. This is the essence of mind power. Law number 2, the law of correspondence. The second of the 7 universal laws is the law of correspondence, also known as the law of analogy. This law tells us, as above so below, as below so above, as within so without, as without so within. This means that there is harmony, agreement, and correspondence between the physical, mental, and spiritual planes. Put simply, there is no separation since everything, including you, is mind. The only difference is the rate of vibration, as the third of the universal laws tells us. The same pattern is expressed on all planes of existence, from the smallest electron to the largest star, from the visible physical plane to the invisible spiritual plane. Using the law of correspondence. The practical use of the law of correspondence is that it allows you to logically understand the nature of those things beyond your understanding by studying the nature of those things that you do understand and then finding the analogy. For instance, by understanding the creative aspect of universal mind, you can precisely understand how your mind creates your reality. You can understand the state of your outer physical world by looking at your inner mental world. Similarly, your inner mental world can be revealed to you by looking at your outer physical world. The New Thought author, James Allen, perfectly captured this law when he said, "Circumstances do not make a man, they reveal him." This means that your outer world circumstances are revealing your inner world, and so to change your circumstances, you must change what you think, which includes how you feel, what you assume, what you believe, and so on. Moreover, the ancient Greek temple of Apollo at Delphi was referring to this great law of correspondence in the inscription, "Know thyself, and thou shalt know all the mysteries of the gods and the universe." Law number 3, the law of vibration. The third of the 7 universal laws is the law of vibration that tells us nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates, the whole universe is but a vibration. This is confirmed by modern-day science that states everything, including you, is pure energy vibrating at different rates of vibrations. The only difference between all manifestations of consciousness or mind, be it matter, thoughts, emotions, things, or circumstance, is their corresponding rate of vibration. The higher the rate of vibration, the less dense or more subtle, less physical, that thing is. The lower the rate of vibration, the more dense or less subtle, more physical, that thing is. On the physical plane, everything you experience with your 5 physical senses is conveyed to your brain through vibrations. Everything in the 3D world is a vibration, only that you experience things as being solid because of the way your brain interprets those vibrations. Thought vibrations. On the mental plane, when you think, you emit thought waves, and each thought wave has its signature frequency, albeit invisible to your physical senses. The overall frequency of your mental nature is determined by what you persistently think, feel, imagine, believe, and so on, which in turn determines the corresponding nature of your projected 3D experience. Since you can consciously choose your thoughts, you can intentionally increase the rate of vibration of your mental frequency by thinking more positive thoughts of a higher frequency. The law of vibration underpins the law of attraction. The axiom that like energy attracts like energy, upon which the law of attraction is based, is founded in the law of vibration. You can learn to control your mental vibrations at will by consciously choosing what you focus on, what you imagine, what you assume, and how you emotionally react to outer world circumstances. Similarly, you can also change your core beliefs and reprogram the subconscious mind. This is the foundation of true thought power. The law of vibration and directive power. Importantly, we also know that in accordance with the law of vibration, higher rates of vibration have directive power over lower rates of vibration. This means the higher your degree of consciousness towards your higher self, the greater your directive power over the denser degrees of consciousness below it, including your mental plane and the 3D physical plane. This then explains why the higher you go in degree of consciousness on the inside, the greater your ability to effortlessly manifest your desires on the outside, because the former has directive power over the latter. Law number 4, the law of polarity. The fourth of the 7 universal laws is the law of polarity that tells us that everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. It is the first of the mutable or transcendable universal laws and means there are 2 sides to everything. Things that appear to be opposites or contradictory are just 2 extremes of the same thing. For instance, heat and cold appear to be opposites, but in truth, they are varying degrees of the same thing called temperature. The same applies to all opposites. The opposite pairs of love and hate, peace and war, positive and negative, good and evil, yes and no, light and darkness, energy and matter are all but varying degrees of the same thing. You can transmute your emotions along the same line of any pair of opposites, from hate to love, from fear to courage, and so on, by rising above your emotions and by consciously choosing to focus on higher emotions. This serves to raise your mental plane's overall vibration and hence also your corresponding 3D experience. In Hermetic teachings, this is called the art of polarization and mental transmutation. Rising above the law of polarity. This principle of duality may appear to be very real in your life, but it operates only in the physical and mental planes, not in the spiritual plane where all is one. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, God is above the opposites. By always placing the all-powerful, all-knowing Great Spirit or Absolute, of which your true self is a divine spark, behind everything you say and do, and by endeavoring to focus on the positive even when things appear not to be going your way, while also avoiding the extremes, then in time, you will come to master the law of polarity. Moreover, by refusing to label anything as good or bad, be it a desire, person, thought, thing, or circumstance, you prevent yourself from becoming attached to either side. And when you are not attached to either side of the opposites, you can see them for what they are, different expressions of the same thing. And so you can start to transcend this law of polarity. Law number 5, the law of rhythm. The fifth of the 7 universal laws is the law of rhythm that tells us that everything flows out and in. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. It is the second of the mutable or transcendable laws of the universe and means that all things, be they visible or invisible, swing between the opposites courtesy of the law of rhythm's pendulum. This universal law is evidenced in the waves of the ocean, in the rise and fall of empires, in business cycles, in the swing of your thoughts from being positive to negative, and in your personal successes and failures. In accordance with this law, when anything reaches a point of culmination, then the backward swing begins almost unnoticeably until such time that any forward movement has been almost totally reversed. Then the forward movement begins again, and the process is repeated. Working with the law of rhythm. To work with rather than against the swing of the pendulum, you must become aware of the subtle start of the backward movement in any of your endeavors, whether it be to improve your health, finances, relationships, or any goal you may set in motion. When you feel the law start to draw you back, do not become fearful or discouraged. Instead, remember that you are one with the all-powerful Absolute, for which nothing is impossible. Keep your thoughts focused on your desired outcome and remain positive no matter how far back this transitory law pulls you. Even if your efforts meet with failure, find comfort that by virtue of this very same law, the upward motion must start again. Rising above the law of rhythm. You can rise above the law of rhythm in your inner world and hence also in your outer world by avoiding the extremes so that the pendulum has nothing to correct. This does not mean to strive for mediocrity, and nor does it mean to not care for anything or anyone. Rather, it means to seek balance, because balance is in fact what this law seeks. When, for instance, you experience mental extremes on both sides of the spectrum, be they in the way of fear, panic, overexcitement, or a sense of obsession or attachment, seek to calm your mind so that your thoughts, emotions, words, and actions that follow are not extreme. In this way, the swing to the one side will be so measured that the swing to the other side will be unnoticeable. Extremes are relative, and what is extreme for one person may be measured for another, and vice versa. You can only gauge if what you're thinking, feeling, or doing is extreme, and the criterion, according to Pythagoras, is whether it's hurting or harming you, your present or future self. The sixth of the 7 universal laws is the law of cause and effect, that tells us that every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. In accordance with this law, every effect you see in your outside or physical world has a very specific cause which has its origin in your inner or mental world. This is the essence of thought power. Your thoughts, your beliefs about yourself, others, and life, and your overall mental state set in motion specific causes that come to materialize over time as corresponding effects in your outer world. Mastering cause and effect. To master your destiny, you must master your thinking, because everything in your 3D reality is but a mental creation, a projection of consciousness. There is nothing like chance or luck, at least not in the way we define them. They are simply terms used by humanity in ignorance of this law of cause and effect. Your invisible inner world is the cause, and the visible 3D outer world is the effect. Do not allow your outer world to determine the frequency of your inner world. Persist in the thoughts, feelings, assumptions, and imaginings of the life you wish to live, and the outer world will in time follow suit. In line with the conscious creation process, your outer world, effect, must come to match your inner world, cause, by law. Your imaginings are instantly created. The law of cause and effect applies to all 3 planes of existence: the spiritual, the mental, and the physical planes. Having said this, on the spiritual plane, cause and effect are instantaneous, such that they appear inseparable. On the other planes, our experience of time and space creates a time lag between the cause and the eventual effect. When you focus on your chosen desires with intention using creative visualization or other manifesting techniques, what you want to create in the physical plane is instantaneously created in the spiritual plane. With perseverance, practice, and continued concentrated imagination, your desired outcome will also come to manifest in the 3D physical plane, because the higher vibrations of the spiritual plane means it has directive power over the lower ones. In other words, whatever is created in the spiritual plane is in time projected in the physical, because the former directs the latter. The last of the 7 universal laws is the law of gender. It tells us gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. This mutable universal law is evident throughout creation in the opposite sexes or genders found not only in human beings but also in plants, electrons, and magnetic poles, to name but a few. Everything has both masculine and feminine aspects. The masculine is directive and the feminine is creative, and the two must work together with harmony. In the mental plane, the directive masculine aspects are your conscious mind, your will, and your logic. And the corresponding feminine creative aspects are your subconscious mind, your desires, and your emotions respectively. Both genders are equally powerful and important, and the pairs must work together. Specifically, your conscious and subconscious mind, your will and desires, and your logic and emotions must all work as pairs towards the same outcome. Masculine and feminine qualities within. Everyone has within themselves both masculine and feminine qualities. Among the outward expressions of feminine qualities are love, patience, intuition, and gentleness, and of masculine qualities are energy, self-reliance, logic, and intellect. Know that within every woman lie all the latent qualities of a man, and within every man those of a woman. When you know this and allow your qualities to shine and work in unison with each other, you will know what it means to be complete. The law of attraction as part of the equation. You will notice that the law of attraction is not mentioned as one of the 7 universal laws. This is not to diminish its importance. The law of attraction is one of the basic laws which runs through all of the universal laws. One could say it holds everything together. Credit for the 7 universal laws. This article draws largely on 2 sources of incomparable wisdom on the 7 universal laws. First, on the 1908 seminal work on the universal laws, the Kybalion, which is a study of the Hermetic philosophy of ancient Egypt and Greece. Based on the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus and written by the 3 initiates that we today know as the New Thought author, William Walker Atkinson. And second, on Baron Eugene Ferson's 1923 The Science of Being, which is one of the most comprehensive books written on the subject. My own book, The Adventure of I, covers the 7 universal laws extensively with my insights and understanding with nearly 20 chapters on the subject. In a nutshell, there are 7 universal laws or principles by which the entire universe is governed. The laws of mentalism, correspondence, and vibration are the 3 immutable, unchanging, higher laws. And the laws of polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender are the 4 mutable, transitory, lower laws. As stated in the Kybalion, the universe exists by virtue of these laws, which form its framework and which hold it together. Once you know these universal laws, you can use your knowledge of the higher laws to master and transcend the lower laws. This is fundamental to attaining direction over your inner mental world so that you can consciously create your intended reality and achieve true mastery. Mastering the 7 universal laws leads to mastering your life in every way.